around the building, working with all the city agencies to ensure the safety of the public, the workers, and the first responders. We then surveyed the building with the FDNY and all the regulators. We immediately worked with them to safe off the building and do whatever the fire department and the building department required of us. We safed off all the electrical work. We went back and reestablished all the leading edge protection where it was damaged during the incident. We removed material from 25 feet around all the building edges. We had the structural assessment of the entire building, the scaffold structure, and any other structural element by Tomasetti, who was a structural engineer of record on this project. We removed all the damaged scaffold planks, and we are removing all the broken glass from the windows and from the scaffolding. We redid the electrical work in the building to reestablish the temporary lighting to be safe for all of the people working in the building. We ensured safe access to all the surrounding businesses with sidewalk sheds of any business or residence that was in the frozen zone, so everybody was able to maintain operations in their household or in their business. We removed all combustibles from the building, and we repaired all the nets on the outside of the scaffolding to ensure that nothing could fall off the building. We work closely with all city and regulatory agencies to ensure all public and worker safety issues have been addressed. Some of the next steps that are going to happen at 130 River Street is we're going to be ensuring the safety of the workers, emergency personnel, and residents. Moving forward is our main concern. We will work with the city, state, and federal agencies, including the FDNY, to develop a health and safety plan that Bovis, as well as all the agencies, can agree is the best path forward to ensure workers and resident safety. The revised health and safety plan that I just spoke about will also include the monitoring of the integrity of the building. All potential contractors that will replace the John Paul Company will be reviewed by the Inspector General's office and the LMDC. We will be checking their safety records and past performances before submitting their credentials to the LMDC for approval. We have constantly worked with all city, state, and federal regulatory agencies and will continue on a go-forward basis to do so before we can work with the LMDC to enact new agreed-upon communications and safety plan. And as of today, the city agencies has given us back control of the site, and we are working with OEM, FDNY, and all city agencies to have the building 100% ready so that we can unleash the frozen zone, and our target is Friday.
Okay.
Thank you, Jim. Bovis remains committed to completing this project. We're not going anywhere. We are committed to taking down this building. We know that it is time for this building to finally be down. We can do so and safely protect both the workers on the site and the community. It's our intention to maintain the lines of communication that we've opened tonight with both this board, the elected officials present, and the community. As was said before by several speakers, we are here to answer your questions. We don't intend to evade any issues concerning the current condition of the building, current activities at the site, or activities planned for the future. You must understand, however, that as has been said, there are active investigations still underway. Bovis is fully cooperating with these investigations, and therefore we're going to be unable to discuss the circumstances that led up to or the details of events that occurred on August 18th. Other than that, we'll be happy to respond to any questions that we can there. Julie?
Okay, I'm going to keep my opening statement very short because the fact of the matter is I made my opening statement back in 2006 when this community board passed a resolution urging that John Galt not be hired. And I honestly find it inconceivable that you're telling me now that you find Galt's actions was troubling. Why is a community board one whose onus it is not to determine the fitness or lack thereof of a subcontractor? How is it that we raised a red flag about this back in 2006 and yet one of the largest contractors in the world was able to hire essentially a shell company who had no history whatsoever of ever deconstructing a building?
The selection of the John Galt Company was approved by our client and every agency involved. All I can say is that John Galt terminated on the project, will perform no further services. In light of the ongoing investigation, I'm not going to answer any further questions about it.
Okay, I mean, what I would just suggest, unless any of the elected officials disagree with this, is that I understand that there are ongoing investigations, but we had every single government agency before us last week. They had no trouble answering questions, so I do not understand this comment that you cannot answer questions because of an ongoing investigation.
I don't know that those agencies are involved in discussions with the investigators or not. I know that we're putting people forward, cooperating with the fire department, we're engaged in conversations with other people who are involved in the investigative role, and we're simply not going to compromise those investigations by going into the details of every issue. What we are prepared to talk about is the current condition of the building, current activities of the site, and activities planned for the future. I thought from the comments that I heard from various speakers that the concern here tonight was the safety of the community. That's our concern too, and we're happy to engage in the dialogue with you about things that we can do going forward to make sure that the community members are protected.
Well, you know, I've always learned that those who fail to study history are doomed to repeat it. One of the big issues you did here is hire a subcontractor to do a lot of the reconstruction work, and we're a little puzzled by the process by which you evaluated that subcontractor. And I'm a little further puzzled by your answer. I would like to understand, are you in the nature of taking a Fifth Amendment, refusing to answer questions, to incriminate yourself?
I'm happy to answer any questions that you have, but there are certain subjects that are subject to an ongoing investigation, and we do not intend to talk to these members, this community, and this board about issues that we're
Can you
actively.
tell us what process you will use to find the subcontractor to replace John Galt, and how will that differ from the process you used previously?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
The contractors that we're currently talking to have a lot of experience doing this type of work. The contractors that we're currently talking to are all contractors who will be reviewed, as Jimmy said, through the SBQ process, CB2, and all that will be done this time. At the time that we bid, we reviewed it with the people, we followed all the procedures that we were supposed to follow. Now, things are being done differently, and we're happy to cooperate with those people. But we're going to make sure that the people we hire have appropriate experience, we're going to look at their safety record, and we're going to hire qualified people to do the job.
So I just want to follow up what Julie and the speaker said. We know you can talk about things going forward, and maybe what would be helpful for the community to understand more in depth is what is a process for hiring a subcontractor. Could you just briefly, before we turn this over to the community, tell us specifically, do you do a national search or an international search? Do you go out and do interviews? Do you have a independent review commission? Do you allow the city and the Department of Investigation to play a role in this, which would be my recommendation? Tell us the criteria going forward, not talking about what happened last week. Going forward, how can you assure the people in this room that there will be a real vetting process, there will be a real understanding that a new subcontractor will have safety provisions in place, real experience, no mob ties? How do you ensure that?
That's a good one.